I am Jacob Gabel.
And I am Jacob Wurtz.
And this is the Untapped Podcast.
Nice, dude. What's going on, brother?
Doing well. Beat up from the first week and now day 8 today.
Yeah.
I guess that we're recording on, of course. But
right.
Whew, man, beat up from the first little bit here.
Would you say you ran 5 miles today? Or 5K?
No, 5K. Yeah. Nolan and I hit
the
hit Queenie Park, and that was... It was good to get running again because honestly, I love the cardio aspect and the mental challenge that comes along with it. Because we hit a hill at the last part of it.
Nice.
It was like the ones we do where we go walking on, and you know those hills, and it was bad. I was
Bertha
dying on top
and
of it.
Helga.
Yeah, we literally named our hills, guys.
We've named the hills. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's you know they're hard hills when we're naming them.
Yeah, right.
After just these horrifying names.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's good to hear. Was it? I assume it was more like a trail run type of thing.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah. It was like gravel / trail. Like we kind of switched on and off. Like just the trail flowed that way. So. It was good.
Hell yeah,
it was
dude.
a good time, dude.
Well, cool. Well, anyway, guys, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. If this is your first time listening, welcome. We are glad that you're choosing us to listen to or watch because we are back on YouTube now.
We are.
That was a good little announcement for us. Back on YouTube on all the platforms for audio, which is huge. But if it is your first time listening, we actually have 5 different formats of our show. First is EXFit. So you have 2 certified personal trainers here, guys. In the EXFit episodes, we cover everything to do with fitness, and we go over the gym, workouts, diet, nutrition, what we like to do for outdoor workouts. That's kind of what we just talked about there. Next, we have EX Mind episodes. In those episodes, we cover everything to do with the mental side of things. Okay, now we only give anecdotal experience because we don't have the official education in the mental health or psychology world. And we don't want to go outside of our bounds, but we do talk a lot about our own experiences. We also go over a lot to do with mindset. Next is EX Gentlemen. These gentlemen episodes are awesome. This is where we cover everything to do with masculinity, and we talk about being a strong male, becoming a strong male, being a strong male presence just for yourself and for those in your life.
Absolutely. So our final 2 formats, guys, we got our EXCurrent episode, which was season 2, episode 23, our last one there. That is also our episode today. That goes over, current articles that are going on in our world today. That also goes on how history connects to our current present time now. And then we also, we like to call out BS we see naturally because a lot of us can recognize that the world is going a lot of the times in the wrong direction.
Absolutely.
So we like to have that format as the way to call that out and then, have a call to action for us and you guys as well. Our EX Guest format is our last one. EX Guest, put simply, is what you hear in a lot of podcasts. It's an interview style format. Fitness professionals, entrepreneurs, fellow people that bring you value are the type of people that we will have on those episodes. A lot of fun. And our final little announcement here, we do have a producer named Mitchell Gabel, my brother.
Hello, children.
Oh, interesting copy there.
Interesting, yeah.
Channeling my
heard that.
DJ.
Him and DJ are about to have some good conversations, bouncing ideas off each other.
Oh, man.
That's so funny. Let's get into this, dude. I'm kind of ready.
Me too.
This pisses me off, this topic.
Oh my gosh.
And the heart's already going. We're coming off a little Warzone W there.
I was going to say, I was hoping you'd shout that out real quick, but you kind of buzzed by it, and I was like, this guy's got a casual Warzone W before this.
It's no big deal.
So the blood's flowing. He's hyped up right now. Man.
Yes.
Just an easy W before this.
Easy W, yeah.
But yeah, guys, so this is a topic that, being in the realm we are, it makes us very, very frustrated, to put it lightly. And, we try to contain a lot of these emotions in the podcast a lot of times. We're pretty, level-headed. At least I feel like a lot of times.
Yeah.
This is not one of those times that we really want to stay level-headed, but we'll do our best for you guys.
No.
So I think probably, at least hopefully everybody has seen this article at some point in time now. It is the child obesity and the new methods to combat child obesity.
Yeah, right.
AKA some new drugs and some new surgery.
Right.
Now, of course, on that list is, still better nutrition, exercise. Those were first, but that was pretty brushed over, it seems like.
It was very quick, yes.
But, the new discoveries are the drugs and the apparent surgery, which, again, we'll kind of get into the specifics of that, but, man, this make us angry.
And, they're saying that these are going to be used on kids as young as 12 and 13 years old, which is crazy. Like, that is prime time for kids to be outside playing and prime ages.
Team sports.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say next is, your team sports are going to be getting a little more serious if you want to go that direction with them. But at those ages, you're starting to get a little more serious. You're approaching the high school ages.
Yeah.
1-2 years away. And I don't know. Like, I feel like that age range of 12 to 13, that's where you really start to form some of your like core memories with friends and like playing outside and playing hide and seek and cops and robbers and football, frisbee, airsoft, Nerf, like all the things we used to do. I feel like that was kind of the age that we started to do those types of things. And you really don't see a lot of kids doing that anymore. Let me rephrase that actually, because I actually do see a lot of kids still doing those things. It makes me very happy. But the better way of phrasing that is it's not pushed as more. It's not
it's not as common of a like thing to talk about anymore.
Yeah, right.
Because naturally kids enjoy that stuff, so they're going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But because it's pushed less, I think it is practiced less.
Right.
Yeah.
And when we were in middle school, PE was a required class.
Yep.
And I don't remember if it was every day or not. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I feel like it was because I feel like I was in PE every day
of some sort, 100%.
or close to every day. But also in high school, you only needed one PFW is what it was called at our high school.
One gym credit, and that's it.
And one health credit.
That's
that was all that was required to graduate.
Yep.
And you could get both of those done your first semester of freshman year. And it's like, what? Like, why would we not make that as important as language arts, math, science, history, all of those things? Because those are all important.
Yep.
Why would we not push PE, in these types of classes? Because at least at our high school, there were tons of options. Like there was literally, dancing. What was the?
Oh gosh, you're not talking about like P90X or anything like that.
No,
right?
no.
Okay.
There was I don't know. It was popular with the girls, but they would always wear like the
Zumba.
I
know exactly what you're
not
talking
like
about
belly
too.
dancing, but you know how like belly dancers wear those like not skirt things, but
Yes,
that
like,
make the noise.
Yes, I know
Wow.
exactly
I'm
what
just
you're talking about.
butchering this, but anyway. There was tons of options. There was things like that. There was Pilates
Yeah.
classes. There was yoga classes. There was your normal weightlifting and your normal team sports classes. And those were awesome. You got to learn and play new sports. You got to learn how to weightlift.
Yep.
And
one of our best high school influences was from a coach in our weightlifting
yeah,
class.
absolutely.
100%.
Someone who we're still close with,
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't understand why those aren't pushed more,
Yeah.
And then you have things like this come out from the AAP, which is you had it right.
American Association of Pediatrics.
Yeah, there you go. So that's where these new guidelines come from. Go ahead, Mitch.
Academy. American Academy of Pediatrics.
There you go.
They love their three-letter
Yeah,
shit,
right. Right. But then these new guidelines come out from them that the new answer to child obesity is drugs and surgery. And so they're starting to try and push the magic pill and the magic surgery at ages as young as 12 and 13.
Yep. Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing?
You know what it reminds me of too, what scares me about like them talking about the 12 and 13 age?
Mhm.
That's like right when you go into puberty.
Yeah,
So
right.
again, it's the same time where like they've been encouraging like the transitions and whatnot for supposedly transgender kids and whatnot.
Right.
So what really relates there to me is like I do not like that we're messing with kids' actual biological makeup at that age.
Right.
Of any sort.
They are growing and changing so much
Exactly.
already.
Exactly.
Why are we throwing more into the fire there?
So that's I personally, and I don't know how you couldn't see this as like a possible topic or an agreeable topic. I don't think kids should be using pills. I don't think that should be a need. Like when you're under 18, you should be so healthy that you don't even like need, your checkup is all you need at the doctor's office. And that's about it.
Yes, no, I 100% agree. And there's obviously going to be their exceptions.
Well, yeah,
and there's going to be there's
diseases.
Also right. And there's also going to be exceptions to children that are obese. There are some cases where it is a trait that they're born with.
Yep.
In which case, certain medications and maybe even certain surgeries might be necessary for that. But
it's a very rare thing when that happens. Yeah.
For the vast majority of those kids that are overweight and obese into that category, the solution is very, very simple. Let's not be eating McDonald's every day, and let's literally just get outside. Let's get outside. Put the phone down. Put the video games down. I know we were just talking about how, I was playing Call of Duty with these guys before we got on this episode, but guess what we're going to do after we record this episode? We're going on a walk. We're getting outside. It's like 25 degrees outside. we're still finding a way to get exercise in outside.
Yep.
You know, so that's where I don't know if it comes down to parenting, and I think it does some. And I know you and I actually talked about this in a previous episode where a lot of younger parents right now, their solution to a kid crying or just a kid, you know, feeling depressed or feeling sad, here's a phone, here's a tablet, here's a screen, you know, and those kids react immediately to it and the tears go away.
Yep.
And the sadness goes away, when in reality it should be go outside and play.
Yep.
Go outside, run around, burn some energy.
Yep.
You know, and I mean, I don't know.
Well, think about how easy it is for a kid to get addicted to something like that, an iPad or whatnot too.
Sure.
Of course, like when you have this many things going on in front of your face, this new game or whatever on the iPad,
Exactly.
that's a lot more attractive than moving around and whatnot.
Absolutely.
At first, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty easy to get sucked in. I actually, because you were talking about what's the solution for this, Mitchell. I have a quick story I want you to tell about how you got into hockey and how mom and dad pushed you into hockey.
Oh,
Yep. Because this is going to relate really well here.
So Jake and I started playing hockey, I don't know, 4, 5-ish.
Yeah.
And when I first started hockey, I'd get my skates on. The parents would tie my skates for me. I'd go on the ice, and I would literally like skate 2 skates on the ice and like sit down and cry.
Yep.
Oh.
He hated it. Despised it.
Yeah, and I would just sit there and cry, and I would refuse, and I just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and eventually I played hockey.
Right.
Yep.
And from there, I got okay at hockey. I'm not going to claim I'm an unbelievable player, but I enjoyed hockey.
Mm-hmm.
From there, it just took me being a stubborn kid and being encouraged.
Right.
And I think with this, I'll actually read the actual article that we're kind of
Sure.
referencing. The original one, I believe, came from Wall Street Journal. And the actual intro reads, the American Academy of Pediatrics for the first time, so that's why this is important, because for the first time, they're recommending physicians offer weight loss drugs for children with obesity, aiming to take early action against an increasingly common condition linked to a host of health problems. So at least they address that obesity is linked to a lot of health problems.
Yep. Other than that one doctor we'll talk about.
Yeah,
later.
and it's interesting. The guidance is said to be more aggressive than previous recommendations the AAP published in 2007, which is a really long time ago. I wonder why now.
Right.
And then another
Why now?
discussion
15,
from
16 years ago.
Sarah Hampel, lead author of those guidelines. What we now know is that obesity is a chronic disease in children and adolescents, she said. Treatment should be started earlier and at the highest available intensity. So it's almost sounding like they're acting like obesity is not an avoidable thing.
Right.
Now, Wurtz, you already addressed this. There's edge cases in everything. Some
Sure,
kids might
of
have
course.
some biological thing.
Usually it's something to do with the thyroid, like
Yeah.
the scientific way,
Right.
like hyperthyroidism.
Right.
Yes, but the vast majority
But the thing is,
is-
Mitchell, even with those kids, better nutrition and exercise is shown to help their metabolic
Right.
health too.
Exactly.
So even if they come off as like obese, they can still improve their metabolic health through those two things.
Exactly.
Without,
I think
without just relying on the newest, like cut a part off their body or suck some fat out of their body or
Yep.
take the newest pill.
So that's the
yeah.
pretty two big takeaways is that obesity is now being acted like it's a chronic illness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then this is the first time that this has been recommended with either weight loss drugs or surgery, bariatric
Right.
surgery. From what I understand is like you literally shrink your stomach so you can't eat as much.
Yeah, I don't know all the specifics of that surgery, but
There's like one compound I know of that is good with weight loss, and it's called semaglutide, I believe. It's like a peptide that you can take for weight loss, but that's the only thing I've even learned that when it comes to a compound is like okay and without side effects to take weight
interesting.
loss. But even then, like when you take that, apparently like your hunger is like gone.
oh really?
So you still need to eat.
right.
And
So I think the
there's
overall
problems with that,
point
too.
is it's asking the question, why are we pushing these solutions when we have the solutions that you guys are discussing?
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I mean, I think we know why.
I was
I
gonna
think
say
we know
we
why.
do.
The society we live in right now, and just the culture and the media that we have, the administrations that we have, the government that we have, and again, just how society is now is everyone wants the quick fix. What's the best way I can get this fixed with the least amount of work?
Mhm.
You know, and that's not even necessarily like a current topic. That's more of a mind EX mind type
yeah.
episode where you just have to put the work in for anything. Otherwise, you're not going to see changes. You're not going to get better. You're not going to find out You're not going to go through any failures that you can use as lessons and whatnot. All of these things we've talked about. So I don't think it should be a surprise that something like this has come out. And, you could even see it with COVID and the vaccine. People saw the vaccine as a way to fix COVID and get rid of COVID. Whatever your thoughts on the vaccine are, we also know that just being a healthy individual will prevent or help prevent you getting COVID or the flu or the cold or diabetes or cancer or whatever else. It's not going to 100% prevent any of that, but someone who is a healthy individual compared to an unhealthy individual, the data shows that the healthy individual has a far less chance of getting those sicknesses or those diseases or the cancer or whatever. So, because that is such a hot topic right now, the vaccine and COVID, it's no wonder that they're going to try and throw out a quick fix that who knows what the side effects are to these drugs. Who knows if the surgery is a healthy thing? I'm sure it's not. There's no reason we need to be doing that kind of operations on 12 and 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids. Just go outside. Literally just go outside. It's not difficult.
So kind of going on this and you were talking about the side effects with the drugs. Do we know if there's side effects from the surgery, from the drugs, et cetera, and whatnot? Some of you that I probably have heard of this and, heard this come out on the news. You're like, okay, well, they're really just trying to innovate to, help us become healthier and whatnot, in any way they can. Think about the phrase of this. A patient cured is a patient lost. When it comes to profit and somebody, so they're not going to just come out with a surgery that magically helps somebody for the rest of their life.
Right.
Because more than likely they're going to do, what was the surgery called, Mitchell? With a B?
Bariatric surgery?
They're going to do bariatric surgery, and then those people are going to put the weight right back on.
Oh, yeah.
Within less than a year.
Right.
Because they don't have the habits built up to help them keep that weight off in the first place.
Right. You took the same person with those bad habits, sliced the fat off of them or did whatever to get it off. That's still the same person. It's still the same person mentally with those same habits. So you're exactly right.
My thought process is this. My thought process is they saw with the vaccine how well people responded to a quick type of fix.
Oh, yeah.
And in the past, they've seen with all the drugs they put out on all of our pharmaceutical commercials on TV, they've seen how well it's been received, how many people use that stuff, how profitable that is. So in my opinion, this is just another way for them to just make us sick, fat, unhappy, dependent on everything.
System.
So that's the way I look at it, and they can profit off that.
No, you're 100% right.
Because truthfully, they can't profit off somebody like us three in this room.
No,
they just can't.
Not.
No, we're not an option because of the fact that we actually take care of our bodies.
Right.
Because of the fact that we actually take care of our minds. Because of the fact that we actually care what we put in and out of our mouth. It's so easy to avoid the consequences of something like obesity.
Right.
Especially, and again, we're talking about the majority of the population here. We're not talking about the few amount of people who have a certain disease or who have a certain condition that leads them towards one proclivity or another or whatever. It's so obvious because all you do is get pulled back in. It gives you a bunch of side effects, whatever, surgery or drug they give you, and then you go right back to the same problems, or you have other problems along with that.
Exactly.
They treat those other problems, and then the cycle repeats.
Exactly.
So that's the asinine part of it is we're going back and believing these people actually care about our best interests when in reality that's not true.
No, not at all.
Because in reality, if they cared about our best interests, they would have cured cancer by now.
Sure.
Or at least they would noticeably be trying to cure cancer.
Right.
I don't mean a vaccine for cancer. I mean to cure cancer.
Exactly.
To eradicate it entirely.
Right. Dude, I'm not 100% convinced of this, but just seeing how many things are coming out as true or not true that we've been told the opposite of, I wouldn't be surprised if they had a cure for cancer and they're just keeping it under wraps because they want the customers is what they see them as horrible as that might sound to call a cancer patient a customer, it's also true.
Well, what's scary about cancer too is that the rates of cancer have skyrocketed in the last 50 years. Yeah, it was I think, again, I don't want to quote the numbers exactly, but the ballpark range, just so I'm not, people aren't getting mad at me for misquoting the study if Mitchell wants to look that up or whatnot, but the ballpark range in 1950 or 60 was around the 5 to 10% of the population had cancer. And then it went up to nowadays, at some point in time, 40 to 50% of the population gets cancer,
Yeah,
somewhere in that ballpark.
We definitely should find that.
Yeah,
I definitely
but
wanna know.
but it just shows you, like, you can look at every other study, like how high the obesity rate goes. Like that's another statistic that easily we can quote.
Right.
It went from, I believe, 1980 it was like 20 to 25%, and it went to now around the country it's like 43 to 45%
for obesity.
for nationwide
Oh,
of
yeah.
obesity.
Dude, just go to like any public place.
Just go to Walmart
Go to Walmart. Go to Walmart.
That's the easiest
Go to
one.
a Cardinals game.
every time. Go to a cart. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
yeah.
wherever there's a large amount of people, go there and just observe how many people are so overweight.
Yep.
And it's just like, and they just know it. Like they just know it, and there's cool with it. It's like what?
Yep.
What?
Well, and again, like what's a really cool example actually of, I think I told you this as well, and Mitchell, I definitely told this, but there's a kid who was in Mitchell's grade in high school that he actually recently reached out. He is on day 4 of 75 Hard, I believe now. He reached out because he saw some of my stuff I was posting about being on 75 Hard, in general, the stories I post. And he's like, dude, I love what you post and whatnot. Like, thank you for, bringing all this good content out. One, I was like, this just increases my drive more and more, getting stuff like that.
Sure.
But this kid, I mean, for a while, I know his health got away from him. Like, I know in high school, he was, semi-healthy, I believe, Mitchell. I could be wrong on that. But now I know he had let his health, like he even said it himself, I mean, he let his health get away from him for a while. And now he's on day 4 of 75 Hard.
Yeah,
you want to talk about taking accountability.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about taking actually, like, okay, I'm going to get after it.
Right.
And handle what, my ailment might be or something like that.
Sure.
That I can tell is my fault. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
I mean, you know who you are. If obviously if you're listening and whatnot, like, shout out you, because that is exactly the attitude we need when it comes to that stuff.
Well, and that's like a big reason that's not happening more is because accountability has just gone away.
Yep.
Just gone away with everybody. No one takes accountability for their own actions for anything. When it comes to obesity, people blame it on a thyroid issue. That's one of the biggest ones.
Oh, I hear
people
that
make
all
the
the time.
excuse of having a thyroid issue when they do not have a thyroid issue.
Yep.
You have an overeating issue.
They have a McDonald's issue.
You have a food addiction issue, which could be real.
Yep.
That is a very real thing. Food addiction is very real, but it's not your thyroid, and it's not your family genes. There are some cases, as we've already stated, but it's not your family genes. It's not X, Y, and Z. It's that you are lazy and you don't take accountability for your own actions for overeating every single day.
Yep.
Like it's not simple. I'm sorry. It is simple.
Yep.
It is simple.
No, it is 100%.
It's simple, but it's not easy, as we've talked about many times. But continuously blaming other external circumstances for the reason you're fat is ridiculous. Look in the mirror, take accountability, do something about it.
Yep. By the way, if you want to take accountability, look up the top nutrition scientists in the world, Lane Norton included in that, Dr. Lane Norton, and see what he thinks on obesity. See what they think in those groups about obesity and what you can do when you just cut calories.
Yeah.
And again, there are, like, what happens when you start overeating, it actually does change your hormone structure. Like, there's 2 hormones related to when it comes to hunger, and there's leptin, which is what turns off hunger, and then ghrelin, which is GHRELIN. That is the hunger hormone. So I always think of it as growling. Like, that's how I remember it a lot of times.
Right.
And that is what, like, basically, like, okay, pushes you toward hunger because, okay, your body is, like, low on calories or whatever, and it pushes you toward hunger. Like, okay, you need to eat to do this. What happens is the leptin hormone, as you start to overeat more and more, gets slowly turned off more and more often. So leptin shuts down the need for hunger. Like, okay, I'm full, I'm good. So when you start overeating, what happens is that leptin, and you could probably attest this with those 4 bags of chips you were talking about the other day. Yeah, like that's a good story you could tell, but like that's a good example. Like that hormone starts getting turned off more and more.
Right.
Ghrelin starts taking over more and more. You're hungry all the time somehow.
Right. You think you are.
Yeah,
Right.
you think you are, but it's telling you are because your body is just like, oh man, he's just putting a bunch of food in there. Like, let's turn this off because I guess this is the right thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, it just takes accountability, and that's all. And taking a drug or getting a new surgery is not taking accountability. No. That's not how that works. And we've talked about this a lot, but there's no path in the world that just is going to make this easy. Again, it's very simple, but it's not easy. Losing weight is incredibly simple. It's math. Put in less calories than you're burning every single day.
Yep.
Like it's easy.
Yep.
If you're trying to gain weight, put in more calories than you're burning a day. It's also math. Like it's just not a difficult concept.
So it's interesting. We say it's simple. So bariatric surgery, so reading it over here, it modifies your digestive system, so typically your stomach, to make it smaller. So math, you can't consume as many calories as you used to be. So if, you could shovel down 4,000 calories a day, okay, you cut it in half. Hypothetically, you can still only put down 2 grand.
Right.
But even then, I mean, you'll probably just modify, if you don't have lasting lifestyle changes after that surgery,
Exactly.
you'll just put down food more often. Instead of 2,000 calories in one sitting, you'll put 1,000 calories down in one sitting 4 times a day instead of twice a day.
Right.
Unless you're modifying your true lifestyle change, bariatric surgery is essentially a quick fix.
Yeah.
Like you're saying.
Exactly.
It's simple, but it takes work.
Well, and it's modifying your body in a way it's not meant to be.
Yep.
Like that's not a natural thing.
You're not supposed to like move around the size of your stomach.
No,
like that, in no
not
way
at
is that
all.
natural. Like I'm sorry about like all the people who want all this technological advancement or like health advancements, but nothing about this is natural. Like this world literally hundreds of years ago provided the ability to be healthy. Like that, like genuinely, you could go hunt down animals, eat them because they provided good sustenance,
and forge other things too. Yeah,
and have a garden at your farm or whatever, and
Exactly.
stuff like that. So it provided the aspect to be healthy
Right.
long ago.
Right.
We're just trying to make it quicker.
Right.
When in reality, that's not the option where you should be looking for at all.
Right.
And again, you even said about the route to make this world easy. Mitchell's story is a good example of that. I mean, I remember even me, like I had more at first. I was much more like, I want to play hockey. Like I loved it at first because I saw my cousin play it and he was a stud at it. And so I dove in really quickly. But when Mitchell was crying about it, I was like, Mitchell, suck it up. You're playing hockey. I remember like being along with my parents. I told him that. I was like, you're going to play hockey. And guess what? The world's not easy. Like Mitchell's not going to get always what he wanted as a 5-year-old.
Right.
Like 5-year-olds can't always get what they want. Like
Right.
if 5-year-olds got what they wanted, it would be like our government right now.
Yeah, literally.
Life be like our government right now.
Yeah.
And so because Mitchell ended up playing, he now loves the sport. Him and I play weekly, every time.
Right.
So, but is Mitchell traumatized because that? Is Mitchell traumatized because we made him play hockey?
Right.
Oh no,
Right.
a team sport where he learned a bunch of lessons.
Exactly.
That's BS. Like that's, of course it's not going to be easy, but it ended up, guess what? It ended up going really well for him.
Yeah.
And another thing, like Mitchell also has lost weight in the last, 6 months or so?
Mm-hmm.
You also
Absolutely.
lost weight within
Sure.
the last 2-3 years now.
Sure.
So it's like you both can understand how much like going the closer to obese route, because I don't think either of you were obese. You were be
Probably
considered
not.
overweight, I believe, both of you.
Yeah.
but
I don't even know what
obese.
my BMI would
We
have
were,
been there.
we were
Yeah.
chunky.
Yeah. Couple of former chunkers here on the Hunt Tap podcast.
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, but you guys have exact examples of it, of what you can control in your life, what different factors you can
Absolutely, dude.
control in your life, and how. Was it easy, like going to the gym when you might have been whatever size, or was it easy putting down the bag of potato chips and whatnot?
Right.
Ruffles are amazing,
They are
but
solid. Hey, that's one thing I'll give us fat dudes. We know all the good snacks. You know what I mean? We know all the good snacks.
And you know the way to avoid that? I literally refused to buy any
Yes.
of that because
Yeah.
I knew I would eat it.
Yeah.
You open my pantry, I had nothing in there. I had
I remember when I came up and visited him. You had nothing in there.
my
yeah.
Because your big ass was probably like, bro, I'm starving.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need food.
I had to eat some granola like package up there. I was like, Mitchell, I am dying right now.
yeah. And you can find, other stuff to fulfill that craving or whatever
Sure.
it is. Like I like sweets. So what is my dessert on 75 hard right now? Yogurt, granola, and honey.
There you go.
It's
Yeah.
Wow.
pretty much ice cream.
Yeah.
It's pretty much ice cream.
He was like,
but-
it's pretty much ice cream. I'm like, Mitchell, like that's just like really good stuff.
But
to
I'm
put in there
essentially
that, like,
putting down
yeah.
2 yogurt cups. That's 30 grams of protein right there.
Right.
Granola, that's some good carbs, and then
Right.
honey, that's just natural.
little sweetness to
yeah.
it. Yeah, exactly.
It's not.
Honey's really good for you
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a recommendation. Is just if you know you have a hard time eating that stuff, just don't buy it.
Right.
If you don't see it, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah, I do the same thing with my nightly protein shakes. I get either ice cream sandwich or peppermint bark around the holidays from First Form. What up? Okay.
Shout
and
out.
and then I mix that with the chocolate sea salt magnesium, and I mix it with my greens.
Mm.
And it's kind of a weird taste at first, but like you get used to it. But it's like a chocolatey, desserty type flavor.
Yep.
Like, that's a good way to end the night, you know?
Pretty easy.
Same thing. And I will say, if you're a salty snack person like I am, popcorn is honestly a good solution to that. Like, don't load it up with all the salt and all the flavors and the butter.
Yeah.
But just normal popcorn is actually not not really unhealthy. It's good fiber, and you can eat a ton of it, and it's not a ton of calories, and it's going to satiate your mind too. That's the biggest thing is bored eating. When kids are bored, they're going to go find a snack. Flip that switch. When you're bored, go outside. You know, like that's what we want to do. Obviously, kids have to eat, but and honestly too, like especially teenage like athletes, in a way can kind of eat whatever they want.
I was going to say
because of their bodies, and that's what I tell
pretty much
some
every
of my,
teenage athlete I know could eat whatever they want.
Right.
You know?
That's what I tell some of my clients down at work, especially the ones that are trying to gain weight. I'm like, dude, you're 14, 15, 16 or older. You're working out 3-4 times a week with me. You have practice 2-3 times a week.
Yep.
You have PE at school. Like, you can pretty much eat whatever you want, and you need to be eating whatever you want because you need those calories because your body is already working in overdrive. Being at that age, being a teenage boy, like your metabolism, your testosterone starting to form, and all of that. Like, you're through the roof on all of that for the most part.
Yep.
And then you add all those other activities on top. Like, you just need to be eating anything and everything. That's the biggest thing.
And it's all about teaching the right habits too. Cause it's like, okay, you can say like, you know, you can eat everything now, but like notice what your lifestyle habits are.
Right.
Like it'd be different. Like, and you can tell these kids like, it'd be different, you know, if you're only working out 3 times a week and there was light workout 3 times a week. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, right.
You can make that pretty clear to somebody.
Yes,
and it's
absolutely.
the same thing as like, that's why we think team sports are so important. Cause I mean, one, lifestyle habits alone with team sports are really good, but the also physical benefits of it. Cause pretty much no matter the sport you play, you're going to be practicing minimum 2 to 3 times a week, probably have 1 to 2 games a week, depending on the sport again.
Dude, some of the, and most sports are year round nowadays too.
Exactly.
Whether that's baseball, hockey, football, soccer, like all of it is basically year round.
Honestly, I'd recommend playing multiple sports too.
Absolutely, especially at those younger ages.
I was saying Mitchell and I played hockey and lacrosse, and I think I loved playing multiple sports that way because I felt like it gave me different options of sports because it was a different type of cardio compared to hockey compared to lacrosse. It was a different type of sport too, so I learned different habits and different team habits and whatnot. Like exactly. So you couldn't say a bigger benefit for like a teenage athlete, but like if they're playing team sports, childhood obesity is not going to be a thing.
No,
it just won't.
Definitely not.
If your kid is active, there's no way if you could take them out to ice cream 1 or 2 nights a week or something like that, they're going to have some kind of childhood obesity problem. Like, and if you buy them Nerf guns instead of the newest iPad or something like that, they're definitely not going to have any childhood obesity happening.
Nerf guns are awesome.
Nerf guns are sick.
I would still have a Nerf one right
easily,
now. I would still do that.
I told somebody I'd still go sledding right now.
100, dude. Yeah, I always go sledding with all the kids on my street. Like, absolutely, I will go sledding with you guys.
That type of stuff is so cool, and it's so important to actually introduce fun, outdoor, active things for kids to do. Like, again, doesn't be outdoor because Nerf wars we would have in our basements all the time and whatnot. And I'm sweating, I'm moving around and whatnot. But that's the point, is that this is not some kind of complicated thing for kids. No, it really, especially for kids. Right. Because especially if you set those active habits, like that's why I was able to find exercise so quickly after high school, because I was already training for college hockey at that point in time during the summer. So it led me right into strength training. After I stopped college hockey, it was like, well, I need someone to, not kill somebody. So I'm going to go lift weights now. Right. Like, I mean, and that's what it ended up being. Yeah. And so it set the habit so early on because my parents were like, yeah, you're playing these sports. Like, it's happening. Right. Like, it's not like they weren't going to be like, yeah, you can just, do theater and that's it or something like that. Like, they would have been cool if I did theater, but like it would have had to be along with some other team sport too, because they knew how beneficial that was for them in the past as well.
Well, and team sports are so good, and you kind of started to hit on this too. Team sports are so good for so much more than just the sport. Mm-hmm. You're going to learn how to be a leader, how to be a part of a team, and all of those things carry on for the rest of your life, into your professional life, into your relationships, into your friendships, like all of it. So there's so many different lessons that come from team sports as well, just being a part of a team, And I think, like, I would say this probably comes down to parenting, like getting your kids back outside. I saw this
100% think it does.
Yeah. I saw this thing on, it was TikTok or maybe it was a reel. It might've been on Twitter. It doesn't matter. But it was this guy and he was like, our parents really let us be outside until 6, 7, 8 p.m. No phones, nothing, had no idea where we were, and they didn't care. And I was like, exactly. Yep. Exactly. They knew we were being, just being kids. We were riding our bikes around. We were walking everywhere. Almost every day in the summers, me and my neighbor, who's one of my best friends, would walk up to the gas station. Now, granted, we'd be walking up there to get slushies, which are just frozen sugar. But we would walk up there and we would walk back. That's a mile each way. Yep. Almost every single day. especially when the Cardinals would score 6 because they were only 25 cents then.
I forgot about that deal. Oh my
But
gosh.
but like that was the point. Like we didn't ask mom to drive us up there. No, we walked our asses up there,
Yep.
got a slushie, walked back.
Yep.
You know, almost every single day. Like, it was crazy. It was like one of our rituals. So find ways for your kids to get active.
Yep.
You know,
I think you just laid it out perfectly. That it like what. Just giving your kid an iPad and sending them inside is a disservice to them.
Absolute,
it really is.
massive
Because
disservice.
naturally as humans we are designed to move.
yes,
And that is a good example. Wanting to walk to the gas station.
Yeah.
Because it's like this freedom. You get to be outdoors and
Yeah,
whatnot. You get to be on
right.
your own and stuff like that.
right.
And it's such a good example because, and why we even call it a disservice to kids is because it teaches them there's always this quicker option
Yeah.
when they're younger, 12 or 13 years old. That is a extremely impressionable mind at that point in time,
Right.
going into puberty and whatnot.
Mhm.
One that's messing with a lot of different things, I guarantee you, with surgery or with pills at that point
Sure,
in time.
absolutely.
But you got to understand, teaching a kid a lesson like, okay, we're going to give you this and you'll be all good,
right.
is detrimental beyond their years.
It's in their mind, it's going to cause them to think like, oh, everything is just a quick
Yep.
fix. If something's not going my way,
Yep.
like there's a quick
This
fix
is going
for
to come
it.
to me. It's the same thing
Yeah.
as like the first time they face adversity in school or something like that, or
Yeah.
they face adversity in work. Next
Mhm.
thing you know, it's like,
They're throwing a fit.
isn't there supposed to be a quick fix for this?
Right.
And they're supposed to be like, and they start freaking out.
Right.
And
Right.
guess what happens? Then their performance goes down in life, and then they start
Oh, yeah.
struggling in life, and then they start
Exactly.
overeating, and then they become obese as an adult, or they stay obese their whole life.
Yeah. And then they're dead by 40.
and then they're dead by 40.
Like literally.
Like, is that what we want? Do we
Exactly.
really want to, like, and especially those of you as an adult, do you as a parent really want to set an example for your kid that is the way to go?
Right.
Like, do you really think that them seeing you not be able to get off the couch, it takes you 15 seconds to get off the couch or something like that, do you really think
Right.
that's going to do a service to your kids
Right.
at all?
Right.
Do you really think that they're going to be like, oh yeah, that's what I want to strive for?
Mm-hmm.
Because guess what? By the time you're 45, you won't be able to do anything with your kids anyways.
No, you won't.
They're 10, 15 years old. They're able to buzz around and walk around and whatnot. So I guess you don't want to live life with their kids. And then you
Right.
want the same thing for them because you taught the same habits.
Exactly.
You want the cycle to just keep repeating. You're not able to go outside. You're not able to have fun with your kids. You're dead at 60 at the latest or
Yeah,
whatnot.
right.
And then you leave them and they're like, well, my mom and dad did the same thing. I'm going to do it to my kids. And then it keeps repeating over and over again. And you guys just keep getting sloppier and sloppier. And your lives keep getting worse and worse. And you're like, why is life so hard? I
Right.
wonder the hell why.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder the hell why it's so difficult. Because you're 350 pounds and can't get off the goddamn couch.
Right. Nope.
You're nailing it on the head, and I think another good anecdotal example. I mean,
Anecdotal.
you're having kids turn into the people from Wall-E essentially.
Yep.
They just
That movie's such a good example.
yeah. You and I were running around in the woods, and it creates a type of independence because you're away from your parents.
Sure.
But I think it also creates almost a deeper bond with your parents as well because you know that safety net is there.
And there's a trust.
So yeah, exactly.
True.
So
Yeah.
one that I'm referring to is we were running around being idiots like normal, and I fell in the woods and I destroyed my knee. I had a big old flap of skin hanging out, and you could see the actual fat underneath. And I run in,
It was
yeah,
crazy.
and I run
Yeah.
I run in the house. Mom, I cut my knee open. And I'll get the first aid kit. She wasn't thinking of anything of it. I'm picking like grass out of this huge gash in my knee. And she's like, oh, we're going to the ER. But I think it built that trust because I realized she knew exactly what to do in that moment. And because I had that independence, it made me realize that I have that safety net there, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
but you also have to be smarter when you're on your own
Exactly.
sometimes too. So it teaches you that
well,
as
yeah,
well.
it took 27 stitches to stitch that cut up.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was solid.
It was
solid.
How have I
huge.
never heard this story?
It was like the cut of my leg. Similar. This
Yeah.
one, he beat me by literally a stitch. I was at 26 on the skate stepping on me. But
it was that safety net and that independence. If you're, laying on the couch every day and you walk in and do the same thing as a kid, you're not relying on your parents at all. That's kind of where I'm going with that. We rely on our parents. We're kids who are independent are able to go out and do that risky stuff because they know they have that safety net.
Sure.
If you come home and every day and you sit on your iPad, you're never going to risk anything. You're never
Right.
going to have any meaningful experiences because you're not venturous because your parents, you don't believe they probably aren't able to support you because
right.
it's like touching the hot stove. That's
Exactly.
that's what I think of.
Right.
Yeah, it's like putting your hand in the hot stove. Like you're going to learn the lesson, and your parents are going to stitch you back up and whatnot.
Right.
100%.
There's this scene in the movie The Sandlot. For you baseball fans, you'll know this. You'll know that movie.
Gas movie. Actually,
I hope you guys have seen it.
Gas
Good.
movie.
So That takes place. I want to say it's like the 40s or 50s, and the main character, the boy, he's sitting in his room in this one scene. He's looking at he's either in his room or his dad's office. It's been a few years since I've seen the movie, but he's looking at old pictures of baseball players, looking at baseball cards, and he's just in his room by himself. Obviously, there's no technology like what we have nowadays for him to be on and whatnot. But the point is he's stuck inside, and they just moved in this house, so he doesn't have friends. Blah blah blah. His mom comes in and was like, "Go outside, scrape up your knees, jump a fence, get into trouble." Like she literally says, like, get into trouble. Yep. Go outside. And then the movie goes on, and the story goes on and whatnot. And the kids have a great summer. They're playing ball. They're outside. They are stealing, or they're kissing the lifeguard, and they're doing kid stuff.
They defeat the beast.
They defeat the beast.
That's that big ass dog in the movie.
They blow up the treehouse with vacuums. Like it's just the perfect culmination of what kids should do.
Yep, childhood should be. Yeah.
Yes, they are creative. They have imaginations. They build a treehouse. They literally try to use 3 different vacuums to try to get a baseball out from over the fence. And what's it take? Here's another lesson too. It takes these young kids going up to the scary old man's door, knocking on it, and talking to the old man. So that's also another lesson that kids aren't taught, is how to interact. If you're stuck inside on your iPad all day, you're not going to know how to interact. Yep. If your country gets shut down for X amount of time because of a fake pandemic, you're not going to know how to interact with people. Yep. You're like, that is also a disservice, and that's on purpose to just mess with the entire population of the world. But that's another disservice that no one is talking about. It is screwing with the developing minds of these kids by doing stuff like that. Go outside, get exposed to the germs, because guess what's going to happen? Your immune system's going to be stronger then. We're around people all day long in both of our jobs, and I'm around kids all day long.
Yep.
I haven't got, knock on wood, I have not gotten sick in like a year. And that's kind of abnormal for me. I usually get like a week-long, pretty bad cold.
Well, a virus can't attack a jacked person, so that's how it works. Yeah.
I use supplements, so,
I take whey protein. Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like we've kind of covered everything that we wanted to there.
I think absolutely we have, yeah.
Bottom line is, the quick fix is the fix that has always been true.
Yep.
Exercise and nutrition. You don't have to be perfect every single day for you to have a healthy, normal life. But if you are obese or your child is obese, pills and surgery ain't it. That's not the solution. It's just not.
Yep.
It's living a better life.
Quit feeding your kids pills. We're not trying to go to Wall-E.
Exactly.
We're not trying to go to that movie.
Nope.
Those of you that have seen Wall-E, like, how bad that is.
Yeah.
But it's a good example of like what the future could look like.
Right. Nor are we trying to go to a full technology state world.
No. Absolutely not.
So anyway, guys, that is our topic. That is our content for the topic. Mitch is going to ask us a Q&A question now from a listener. So Mitch, why don't you hit us with that?
Let's do it. So the question is, how to deal with criticism in a positive manner.
Interesting question.
Nice. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Question.
I think it's just don't take it personally, even if it is personal. Even if it's like, hey, Mitch, like, you should do this better, or something like that. Yeah, it might be personal, but don't take it personally, like they're coming at you. And obviously, there's some factors to that, the tone or the situation you might be in or whatever. But if you can take it as okay, this person's actually trying to help me and make me better. Like, let me look at it from that lens and find out how I can be better. I think it's easier said than done.
Self-awareness is a really hard thing to master.
Very
absolutely
thing to master.
Yeah, when it comes to anything. I mean, it's always hard to look at yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself, but if you can see it as a push in the right direction, even just a nudge in the right direction, when someone comes at you with criticism, see it as a way, okay, hey, they're trying to make me better. Also, who is this person that is criticizing me? Are they qualified in my life? Are they qualified to criticize me? If some guy that's 350 pounds walks up to me and says, hey, like, you shouldn't ruck, I'm going to be like, hey, buddy, you should. Okay. Now, if freaking, I don't even know, if David Goggins came up to me and was like, hey, you shouldn't ruck because of this, be like, okay, well, maybe he knows what he's talking about. But if he, you know,
you shouldn't be a lazy bitch. Like that's what he'd say to you.
Yeah, right,
and then,
right,
Then
exactly.
be like, okay, Goggins, let me go run a quick 250 miles.
Yeah, that's probably the more likely thing for Goggins to
Yeah.
say. But you get my point. Is this person in my life, for my life, is this person qualified to criticize me? Yes or no? Because if yes, okay, listen to what they're saying. It might hurt. The words might hurt. But how can I be better? How can I learn from this? And if they're not qualified, just laugh.
Yeah, just
laugh at it.
Yeah.
You know?
So I have 3 different categories I put criticism into, and
Three?
yeah, just a ton. But I don't know, we can't count that high, but 3.
We count in 45s here at Education Fitness.
Only in gym numbers we count in. But guys, so what I mean by 3 categories is 3 types of people. So there's the one of people you don't know and you don't care about their opinion at all. What Wurtz was talking about there and how that's a useless opinion. So why, if somebody's like, man, your social media video was trash.
Thanks, buddy.
Nice chirp.
Thanks,
okay,
bud.
sweet. That's how I react to that. It's like, you know, like I don't care.
Right.
Second one is somebody you consider a friend, but probably should not have been a friend, and they're actually just like making fun of you or criticizing you like all the time as part of the friendship. There are some friends, in like, at least in my experience, I've had that were like basically just like assholes to you and whatnot.
But
they
laugh
disguise
with it.
They disguise that as a friendship.
Yeah.
And in that case, that is what I would consider not a good friend or a good category to be in. The third category is what you said. It's the constructive people in your life.
Yeah.
It's the people who you know who are the real people in your life, like you, Wurtz, like Mitchell.
Right.
And why I take that criticism seriously is because of the fact that you guys actually have some kind of worth. Your opinion, I should say, has some kind of worth to it.
Right.
If that makes sense. So because you have some kind of worth to it, it is something I listen to. It actually has some kind of credibility to it. It's the same thing. I've actually used this example a couple times now that I think about it on the podcast of you saying, hey, you should post more on social media.
Yeah.
I could have been like, why are you telling me what to do?
Right.
But in reality, it's like, oh, I should be posting more on social media. Like, oh, that's weird. That's a correct criticism.
Right.
So again, there's that 3 levels, guys. Like there's the first one, which is basically a hater, like a random hater or stranger you don't know.
Right.
Who the hell cares?
Exactly.
What they think.
Those are the ones you laugh at.
It's just funny. Like, and I always think whenever somebody's getting into social media, especially like an influencer of some sort or whatever, like you're doing fitness influencing, you're doing whatever type of influencing, stop like, and then they're like crying about people criticizing it on the internet. It's like, that's what you signed up for.
Right.
Like,
right.
People are behind a veil and they're pussies, so they're gonna chirp you because you have like, you know, your makeup tutorial or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, stop crying about those type of people.
Well, and like whenever you are starting to put yourself more in the public eye through social media or through a podcast or something like that, someone's always gonna have something to say. But what you have to remember is, let's say makeup videos are your thing on Instagram. Someone is going to learn from that.
Yep.
You know? So it might not be this dude's thing and he might have all the worst things to say or she might have all the worst things to say, but that one girl or guy that is going to learn from you, like that's the one that matters.
That's the real stuff right
Exactly.
there, 100%. And then the second category, what you do there is like you try to root those people out. If those people are just constantly like nagging on you and whatnot, because honestly, us 3, we roast each other all the time just for the fun of it.
Well, sure.
Like there's difference.
Right.
Like there's very much so a difference because it's like, hey, Mitchell, thank you for being a great producer. Hey, Wurtz, thank you for being a great co-business partner.
Yeah, right.
Because we work really together. So most of the time it's that stuff.
Retweet that your way too.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. But yeah, guys, like that's so a good example of the second category is like those people you should be actively rooting out, because I think a lot of people do have some form of that in their friend group. Maybe some people don't, which is awesome. If you don't, perfect. You're in a good spot then.
Definitely.
But if you do root that person out, cut them out of your life. Stop talking to them. In the third category, you need to keep that person around. You need to hang on to that person. You need to basically like collaborate with them as much as possible, because if you two are building off each other and you're growing off each other, the criticism you're going to get from that person is going to help you grow massively.
Absolutely.
You're gonna take off because of the criticism that person gives you, and then you give back to that person in a positive manner. Because criticism again has like a negative connotation, just like some other words we've talked about and whatnot. But it really can be a positive thing on that third category.
Absolutely.
And again, I'm saying that third category, guys. First 2, again, you know what to do with them. I just went over that. That third category, keep them around.
That's the important one.
Yeah.
No, 100%, dude. I don't think I could have said it any better there. I think you laid that out perfectly. So guys, take that into account if you do ever get criticized, you know, and the first thing is just assessing who the person is. Like that's where it always starts. So yeah, I think that was really solid. Obviously this topic on the episode is something we're very, very passionate about, guys. So give us your thoughts on it as well, on the child obesity and the drugs and surgery being used as a method to combat that. Give us what you think about it. You know, I have a feeling you're probably going to join us on our point of view, but if not, I would be very interested to hear your side of things. You're probably wrong, if I'm being honest, but you know,
if you like support childhood obesity and like
exactly, yeah.
No,
so
granted, again, like we like to hear everybody's opinion, so please comment,
Right.
please leave us feedback, whatever. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Guys, continue the support and sharing the show. That's very, very important to our growth. So please just continue sharing it to your Instagram stories, sharing it with your family and friends via text, or even just talking about it. So guys, continue that support. Until next time, peace and love.
Thanks, guys.